As briefly as possible, I'm going to try to demonstrate the 5 major features of the Covenant Healthcare Partners portal. So here we are. We have education files. Like all file sharing on the portal, you'll first have to be logged in. And once you log in, it will show you what groups or committees you're part of, and that's how you share files. You won't be allowed to share files with random groups. So we'll go here to the staff, and first you can view the files that you've already shared in the past. They're by default set by date, from the most recent to the oldest. And then we'll choose to upload a new file. So we browse, we find the file uploads, and then we give it some identification. It'll also have identification based on the date, the user, and the general thing that we choose here, and also to identify it in the future more specifically. So that's the generic identifier. This will be a more specific one, your title or description. Then you'll confirm and upload that. It will show you that it's been uploaded. At that point, you could choose to edit this if you wanted to. Change it to a report, change the text here. Then it'll change the text here, be listed as a report. And I guess you could choose to delete it, although I'm not going to. Okay, so that's basically how educational files work. And you can see, again, you'll be able to share these with all these different groups that you're part of. Meeting materials works in a very similar way as they are files that we're sharing. So here you choose a group. Again, like before, by default, you see the files that you've already shared in the past. You could upload a new file, and just like before, you browse, choose some generic identifiers and more specific identifiers, and then upload. Then it shows up. At this point, again, of course, you could edit or delete that file as you wish. One thing I haven't shown before is files shared by all. In other words, there's other people in this group besides you. What have they shared? And how would that work? So if we go to all now, we see that it's listed again by date, but instead of just your name showing up, it's everyone who's on that committee who has shared files. And you can see what their specific element or generic element was. Was it a presentation? Was it minutes? Was it meeting files or other? And then here's their specific description. I've decided at this point, but I'll need your feedback, that the user can only edit or delete the files that they put on and shared with this committee. So, here's P. Watson. They've shared this file with the same group that I'm part of, in theory. I can't edit this and I can't delete this. But because I placed this one up, I could edit this one, I could delete this one. So there's arguments both ways. Maybe your groups are cohesive enough to let anyone put stuff up and anyone to delete things up. So I'll look for your feedback related to that. Okay, so that's meeting materials. Okay. Oh, also, I guess I want to show you that you could view it, yes, by date, but you could also view it by description. And if you choose that, it would go alphabetically. So maybe you know the title and you're just like, oh, I got to find that file. What is it? And I know it started with a C, and then you go, okay, here it is. Oh, it's this one. So you could do that, or you could view by file type. Again, it's going to go alphabetically. And then I imagine, and I'll talk to the programmer, that if it's alphabetically, but these are exactly the same terms. So what happens next? Well, we'd look at this one and go alphabetically here too. Or I guess it could go to date, but I think this would make more sense, but whatever. Or you could also look alphabetically by who it's been shared by and say, oh, okay, I know Watson, he shared this one file. Okay, there it is, I found it. And now I can download it. Oh, and I should say, to download it, you click on this and then you download the file. All right, so that's how I see meeting materials going. Communications works in a very similar way. You pick your group. You can make an announcement or make an announcement with a file. So either one's possible. If you just want to make an announcement, you'd fill in the title, fill in the details, and then click on Create Announcement. Or alternatively, you could also browse a file, and again, you'd be asked to identify it a little clearer. Oh, once you'd have to get the file first, sorry. And then identify its type, and then you can create that. And there's the title. Those are the generic identifiers, and that indicates the file. So again, you could edit, you could delete, or if you're in the future, I haven't shown this side yet, if you're a standard user gathering items from this, you'll be able to click here and download. Okay, so that's how communications is set up. The calendar seems to be working out. You could either choose a date here or a date here, doesn't matter. But in order to, add events, you would have to pick a specific date. Once you do that, you're invited to create a new event. Again, you add the details and what group you want to share this with. And the groups that show up here are related directly to you as a user. And then you'll see that once it's been done, there's the details, there it is. So if someone was on that committee and you created the event, they could go to the calendar, they could see the event title, they could click on it, and this is what would show up. The title, location, time, other details. And they would have to be on the specific committee in order to see this at all, period. That's the way it is right now. Okay, so, and yeah, that's been created. Okay, so there's our communications. There's our calendar. And lastly, here is our report card. Report card is an interesting one because I see it as kind of a private thing and a very individual thing. And I also see it as a yearly thing. So those could be misunderstandings on my part that I need to get feedback on. But let's just say we could create this list alphabetically. I could just put A, B, C, D, and then if you click on A, you get everybody's last name that starts with an A. I broke it down this way, as mentioned before, because this is how it is on the Covenant Healthcare Hospital website. If you don't want it this way, that's fine. But here we go. If we go to family practice, you see everybody there. To share a report card, you would click on one person, upload a report, choose the report would upload. You don't have to identify the file type in this case because in my mind when I made it there was only one, that is the report card. And so the description would already be figured out. Person's name, RC, report card. There it is, the report card. And then you confirm, yeah, that's the right file with the right person. Okay, yeah, I'm done. Again, at this point, you could edit. You could browse for a different file. You could change the name. Or you could delete, but I don't want to. Basically, that's how report cards work. Now, I've learned that there could be other types of files that should be shared under this segment, so I'll have to outline my questions to understand that to improve this layout. Okay, but that's basically it. So we've gone through the 5. I think they are distinctly unique enough that there's not going to be the confusion that there was before. You know, educational files, meeting materials, communications, calendar, report cards. Good breakdown. So I think it's getting pretty close to getting to programming. The next stage is not programming. The next stage is proving if I'm right or wrong through usability studies. So we'll have to gather names of volunteers who would potentially be using this. I would give them a series of 5 tasks to do. There is no right or wrong response to that. That's just, we're to see if we've set up a layout and created an interface that's intuitive enough to use easily, and it will determine if there's any flaws. We want to catch those flaws before it goes to programming. All right, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow.